is iRacing. Well, it was a Gabri Martinez masterclass last week, and that's words you don't usually hear nowadays, but with the new cars, everyone is still learning. It's week 2 of a new season at school, or as we call it, season 2 of the IMSA Vintage Championship. We're here at the iconic Twin Ring Motegi for round 2 today of season 2 2026. Good afternoon. My name is Craig King, and joining me in the booth once again is Jeremy Scott. The director will be Christian Deploy. Almost said he was using cameras, but he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, Twin Ring Motegi 15 years ago this month was ravaged by the great Eastern Japan earthquake. We all remember that. The oval is no longer usable, but the road course has been kept to standard. To find out more about this historic gem of a track, we go to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Twin Ring Motegi. This well-known Japanese racing facility located roughly 2 hours north of Tokyo gets its name from the fact that it has both an oval and a road course that can be run. But a unique feature of this track is that instead of having a roval layout, the road course is entirely separate from the oval circuit. On top of that, drivers have 3 different road courses to choose from in the form of the Grand Prix, East, and West circuits. While not totally devoid of elevation change, the track is relatively flat. What distinguishes the place the most is the combination of plenty of long straights heading into heavy braking zones. With it being built in 1996, it has most of the qualities you'd expect from a modern road course, including flat curbs, a fair amount of runoff, and multiple pit complexes. Oddly, because of the oval, the track includes night lighting for a portion of the road circuit. Though there isn't much notable about most of the turns, one of the more distinctive corners is the final chicane on the Grand Prix course. Leading out of a tunnel that returns you to the oval infield, it's kinked on entry and it tightens greatly at the second apex. This makes pushing the limits of this corner extremely tough, and it often catches drivers out. Though international series such as IndyCar and MotoGP have held rounds at the track, today it is mainly used for local open wheel and GT series. Still, the one-of-a-kind experience offered to drivers and fans at this circuit is sure to keep people coming back for years to come.
Well, Jeremy was just telling me this may have actually been a financial gain to try and say the oval's not running, but we're not on the oval today, Jeremy. We're on the road course.
You know what? GTPs and GTOs on the oval. I'd be all game for that. But either way, this is a fantastic road course. Opened in August 1997. You see 14 turns, almost 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers. And what's nice about this is you run under the oval twice. And Craig, I love the elevation changes that you have, especially coming off the back straightaway. So that's going to be something to keep in mind.
Do you know what? I love this track because to me, it is one of the best tracks for multi-class that the sim has, but people don't drive it a lot because of the fact that it's a bit challenging. Look how many hairpins, and I know turn 1 and turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4 don't look it, but they're all hairpins, and then you go to 10 and 11, and this is one of the rare Japanese tracks that doesn't have names for corners, which is a pet peeve of mine, as I'm a fan of corner names, not corner numbers. But talking about numbers, we got to look at the championship standings, because we did have 2 splits last week, which means that does not mean the top 10 were those that finished in the top 10 of the championship in the top split last week. As Gabriel Martinez and Jacob Reed will be the same. Aloma was in 3rd, Mechanos was 4th, Lester Jack will be 5th with Jack Davis Spickett 6th. Henning Swebig will be 7th. Diego Restrepo then won the 2nd split, so he will be in 8th. Javier Sanchez 9th with JW Miller in 10th, and it's kind of the same thing as well, Jeremy, in the GTOs. There's one name that looks out of place because they weren't in the top split.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Valenteus obviously up at the front. Polasek and Leskla sitting in 3rd place. 4th goes to Yanni Hagner. 5th, Lundberg. He'll round out your top 5. Then you're on Van Hicks. Cal Young in 7th. That name out of place sits under Cal Young. Thorben Pollock was the winner of the 2nd split last time out, with Cody Salo and Doug Cloud rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, there's only 1 split today, as you can imagine, just because there's other things happening around, but the drivers are still here for what's important, and what's important for them is the race details. because it is round 2 of 12 and it's 40 minutes. We're not at the endurance rounds yet. Open setups. Use the iRacing baseline. Make a set yourself or use one provided by the community. But if you crash, your day is done. There is no spare car. There is a drive-through at 17 incident point. Penalty is actually a disqualification at 25. Don't know about you, Jeremy, but this is not a track people drive a lot. We may see some people come in for that drive-through.
And, you know, the thing is, it's a wide space track. So if you go off, fine, that's great. But, yeah, I think we're going to see that 17X get hit here, I would say, fairly early on.
Well, it's a cold morning here in Motegi. It's 19 Celsius. That's the track temp. That's 66 Fahrenheit. Humidity is only 79%. That's a big deal. Because every time you come to Motegi or you come to Suzuka or even Okayama, you come to a Japanese track, there's high humidity in the mornings and it's usually foggy. And today, I can look down the start line and I can see everything out there, which is a little bit of a surprise for some of the drivers and some of us as you see some of these technical sections here as Gabriel Martinez. Well, he's a number 12 car, but he currently is the championship leader as he's on his outlap, and some of these drivers just getting their outlaps done. And you can see how it is a bit wide here, Jeremy, but it does tighten up in some of these corners. And with the new changes, some of these corners won't be as flat as they used to be.
No, they really won't. Of course, you remember the NTT IndyCar Series in our last time at Twin Ring, which is actually now called the Mobility Resort Motegi, actually ran here on the road course because they were set to run the oval, but again, it was quote-unquote too unsafe to drive on. So, you know, they put on a darn good show, and I think we're going to see a darn good one here. But yeah, the wide open spaces of Motegi won't catch too many drivers out, but I think we're going to see some incidents that make us scratch our head a little bit. And this is my favorite section right here, the 11 to 14 complex. Because you're going fast, and it just quickly tightens up at 13 and then really tightens up at 14.
Yeah, it just comes out of nowhere when you have such a smooth run. As we're watching Aloma, who's come back into the series, and Makanos and this going pole position. It's just one of these really weird sections that it's so far high speed, it's flowing out of nowhere. Boom, you just get caught up in a very slow section. But 1:37 pole position time at the moment from Makanos. Here's Raul Rochas Guardia will go into third. And here's the gold standard, or the triple standard, or I've lost words for him. Because, as you know, Jeremy, I made a video for a Triple Crown, and then a week later, he goes and gets another Triple Crown, and I'm just here thinking, could you give the duties and could you give the victors to other people, please?
Nah, he won't do that. Come on, you know Valentine is just oh so good and always tries to set himself the gold standard as he works his way off that final corner. We saw him have the early fast lap, and let's see what he does as he crosses the line this time by as more drivers are coming in and logging that time, and I believe that he is 50.171 is the fastest lap out of him, and not good enough for the top. How rare do we have to say that?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the staple of Valenteas the last few times where he's been really struggling. We saw Jacob Reed there. I gotta be careful, that's the right Jacob Reed. I got another Jacob Reed, an imposter, racing in the Sebring 12 with me at the moment. Aloma's now trying to find some time, and I wonder what he's gonna do as he comes around the final corner, comes down to the line. It's a very quick run to that start line, as you can see, will come across. It's faster. Oh, no, it's not. It is faster. Sorry, I got my times wrong there. Very faster. Goes up into pole position. Gabri, what have you got left? I don't think Gabri's got anything left here. He's going to try what he can, but I think this is going to be tight. This is the long down run here, Jeremy, and it's all downhill from here in the good way.
Yeah, it really is, and that'll really help kind of keep speeds up. There's Javier Del Olmo going along the other pit road here that we see. It's the alternate pit road that really, this road course is run in two different sections. This is just the Grand Prix layout. You've got the one where you have obviously the pit straight, which here's what I find interesting about this pit straight. You got the pit straight on the right for the road course. You got the pit straight on the left for the oval. You'll kind of see it here briefly as we watch him go down the straightaway. So yeah, you take a look at the right-hand side of your screen. That's the IndyCar pit straight. They would actually still use the paddock over there to what is our left, driver's right. So that was kind of interesting when they did run here. They did use that pit road, the road course, And of course, you saw the road course here on the driver's right. That is for the club circuit, per se.
Did not know the IndyCar pit lane was still there. Valentea's going pole in the GTOs, and Gabri's got a few more corners left. Be careful if you do a pit stop around here. Gotta be careful where the pit entry is, but they won't be needing that today. Most people would have learned this track from Gran Turismo and Forza, but this is iRacing. This is Gabri Martinez will come across the line. Can he find a time? He cannot find a time. It was only quicker to beat McCannels if that was a counted lap. He will start in P2. Noel Lundberg, former champion. What has Noel got as he's going to come across the line very shortly. He's just got a few more corners to go. I say come across the line. That's the wrong pit lane, and here comes the right one. And yeah, I think this was what was known as the east layout for the track. And if you then just have a quick right and you go under the bridge, it is the west layout is the main layout, but he's just got a few more corners to go, and he needs to find a staggering half a second.
Yeah, he really does, because guess who's at the top? It's Valenteus. No surprise here. Let's see what Lundberg can do as he works his way through the final sector. You tighten up to go right down the pit straightaway as you get full bore on this front stretch with 30 seconds left to go. What is the time out of Lundberg? 47.768, his best time. 48.536, only good enough to go up one spot.
Still a good improvement, though. He managed to find 3/10 out of there, but it was not good enough to get some times. And I'm just seeing if anyone else can do any more times out there. They can't. Just everyone just going around and doing some sighting laps and getting themselves ready for this race as qualifying rounds off now. We will go to the grid very shortly, but you can just see there is the banking. Really unique because it's not a figure of 8, but you still have to go under two bridges where you go under the oval track, because the main part of this track is technically inside the oval as they get themselves ready. I can tell you it will be Aloma who will be in pole position with Gabri Martinez beside him, and those are the two names that we're really looking forward to actually see what they can do, because Gabri has found something with this car, with this new change, and it's really good to see. So Aloma will be in pole position with Gabri Martinez beside him in second. Nicholas McCannels will be in third, and Christopher Leitnerjack will be in fourth. Jacob Reeder, surprising fifth there with Raul Rochas Guardia in sixth. David Ricciardi will be seventh, followed by Fabian Youngblood. I'm racing with him right now. Seamus Power will be ninth. Laus Olsen 10th as we go to the second page. Brendan Lim will take 11th with Diego Mistretta in 12th. Mikhail Zavala will take 13th with Javier Masquera back in 14th. Max Bailey will be 15th, Mateo Johnson in 16th, Ricardo Espinella Martinez 17th, Robert Plumley will be 18th, Ben Summers, the last of the time, qualifies in 19th, Joseph Smith didn't set a lap time, neither did Andrew Blackman to round out your 21 GT1s. Jeremy, there's 26 GTOs for you.
There definitely are, and surprise, surprise, Andres Valenteus, your pole sitter there with Yanni Hagner sitting in second. Old Lundberg trying to get up to the top, but fell short at the end. He'll start off third with Leskala in alongside. Cal Young, Andreas Schuster make up row 3 with Javier Del Olmo and Icola Codisalo in row 4. Johan Vix and Van Hicks, I should say, and Doug Cloud round out your top 10. As we make our way through the field, we are taking a lot of cars, to say at least 26 GTOs. Mickey Friesen, Roman Bello make up row 6, row 7, Thorben Pollock, and Ian Hickox. And then you got Luca Gray and Martin Krajcek with Sam Skofgard and Brandon White. Rounding out your 9th row, 10th row will be Emilio Di Chiari and Jamie Hamill-Smith. And of course, we've got one more page to go here, as it's Nathan Rivers and Travis Petrie making up row 11. Jurgen Zorik and Dalton Hall rounding out the last of the cars who did make times. Eugenio Massa and Devin Isley did not log a lap time.
4 drivers who did not set a lap time overall today out of the 47, sorry, I got my numbers wrong there for a moment. I was a trained accountant, I'll have you know, and I don't know how I managed to get that wrong, but here are the leaders. Aloma,
that's scary.
Gonna have to look around. I know it's very scary if I can't know my numbers if I was an accountant. Very scary. What's very scary is what can Aloma do right now? He's going to catch Gabri Martinez napping. In fact, everyone's napping right behind him. They're about 3 wide right now. Aloma's going to have to do a very quick serpentine. Will hold on to this. Now Gabri's in a little bit of the defense here from Mercados, and nothing fought there. Anybody else trying to make some moves? Well, Rauroch's Guardian's gone a little bit wide, but now as they come through to turn 2, the GTO is back down into turn 1.
Yeah, Valentei's actually having to defend a little bit off of Hagner's. Hagner goes high, wide, and handsome, coming around the first corner, I should say. And the whole complex there is all one corner. Valentei's tucks up into the front with Hagner and Leskola sitting back there in third place. Battle for fourth here between Lundberg and Young. So Lundberg already fallen back at least one spot as Young's going to try and go high, wide, and handsome around the 2-3 complex as they're side by side. And Young still not able to get an advantage, but he will have the line advantage going into turn 4 as they work their way out of the oval, but still it's a spin by Young, so Young's going to fall back several spots. Not sure if that was a contact, but Cal Young with a great qualifying position, not able to capitalize early with this being a 40-minute sprint race. Craig, it's not going to be a good way to climb up. Oh, there's one off.
Well, that's going to go off. I'll tell you what it is. It's the cold tires. These tires are stone cold. No tire warmers. They've not got the tires warmed up. And then they've also got to try and find the grip in the tires. And I think they're all struggling. Cold track. This isn't a track that's got a lot of grip on the asphalt either. And that's how I counted 4 drivers having a mistake. Meanwhile, at the front, you see that Joni Hagner's going to have to try and go around the outside. But meanwhile, back into the GTPs, David Ricciardi is also battling. Here's Doug Cloud picture in picture as he's having his own little scrap right now. He's got Noel Lundberg in front of him, Johan Van Hick behind, Mickey Friesen with them. Nice little train, and that's a car off there for a moment. That's a car that's just stopped. That was P13, which I believe was, I think that's Zabala, one of the GTPs, having a little bit of a moment there as they go under the bridge of GTOs. Very chaotic first lap.
It really is a chaotic first lap as you're seeing dust and debris kicked all over the place as you're watching the battle for 5th place between Olenek and Guardia as they are nose to tail so far. And it seems like no matter where you look, right, there's always such a good battle to watch. But again, 5th for GTPs, and they're trying to shake the GTOs to the back of the field to get away from them. But either way, now we're starting to calm down, take a little bit of a deep breath as these GTPs start to make their run through the uphill section of the racetrack.
Yep, it's not a de facto roller coaster, but they're going up the hill and then they'll be going down the hill behind these guys, Rauroch's Guardia. And then David Ricciardi, who's in picture right now, holding off Fabian Jungluff and Laus Dolson behind as well. And you always know it's Laus with the iconic blue and yellow out there, but he's had a bit of a moment through that corner, and it was actually through turn 9, and Seamus Power has managed to get it going. A driver who said that he's been struggling to try and get the car pointed how he wants this week, and I think it is just a little bit of half of it's a learning curve because not many people run Motegi, and it's every couple of years we run Motegi in the IMSA Vintage, and again, it's just also just learning the cars, learning it. I tell you else who needs to learn, David Ricciardi, there he is in the gravel, and then he tries to get on the gravel and on the throttle, while on the gravel, and he meets his maker at the wall.
Yeah, that's never anything good because the gravel has very little. As we take a look at a replay of this incident, gravel doesn't have much traction. So we'll have that in just a little bit. Technology ain't it grand as you're watching this battle for 4th place between Mukanos, Olenek, and Guardia as Olenek looks to the inside, not going to make it happen through the 2-3 complex, but working our way around down the straightaway. And Craig, this has just been such a great battle. Take a look at the replay first and foremost around that final corner. You see 1, maybe 2 cars involved, and yeah, that's where you see just so many sympathy spins here.
Yeah, but it's also not a really good rejoin there. I'm not sure who that was that made that rejoin, and there's not a lot of runway to go, and I think Ben just had to get on the brakes there, and it was Maximilian Bailey, I hear, that had that unsafe well, I'll call it as I say, it's an unsafe rejoin because Ben had to get on the loud stopper to just slow down, and these cars don't take to the brakes very hard nowadays, and that just set the car going around, and that was unfortunate for Ben, but he's still going. Diego Mastretta's in the pits. David Ricciardi he actually retired after we saw that incident there, so that's unfortunate. Doug Cloud not seeing a lot of the GTOs at the moment, and it's going to take a couple of laps, I feel, as the delta between the classes is only about 9 seconds, So it's going to take a while, but we've not seen a lot of this in the GTOs. The Cloud, one of the hardest chargers, up 3. In front of him, Andreas Schuster is trying to hold off Javier Del Olmo. And while he's doing that, he's also trying to battle Yuko Lescala.
So far, so good, as you're seeing this battle really shape up in the GTO class in Lescala and Schuster. Schuster trying to get onto that the bottom step of the podium. And of course, not too far away, as he said, Del Olmo and Cotasalo are all within striking distance. And here's the thing, the Valenteus-Hagner battle, although it's like 0.3 of a second now, Valenteus, as we know, just stone cold. Is more gravel getting kicked up. I think that's probably from that last incident. So drivers still making their way around. But either way, it's been a very interesting battle, to say the least. Look back there and see Del Olmo, Cotasalo, and Cloud trying to hold off one another onto that final complex.
Yeah, well, fastest time in the GTOs goes to Joni Hagner as they come through this really tough 1-2 section. And it is tough. It's really hard. If you don't know how to do a trail break in a modern day car, this is the track that really you want to get behind, because it's one of those tracks that you're able to learn about it for. Pollock has been learning all about this, trying to catch up to Roman Bello a little bit later on the brakes as he comes through this 3 and 4 sector. It's like 1 and 2, but it's a little bit wider. It gives you a little bit more time. In front of them is Mickey Friesen, and we're talking about Joni Hagner as well, as they're going to have a small bit of overlap here, but nothing to full. Joni Hagner was actually saying at the start of this race, he was shocked when he was in qualifying. He's not a very good hot lapper, putting himself P2, and how close as he was to the back of Valenteus was really handy for him. He doesn't have to deal with any of the traffic right here, because if that was a problem, well, he doesn't have that problem anymore. He can look forward, and what he sees forward, it's not these guys. Noah Lundberg is still battling out there in a group of 4 with Del Olmo, Cotasalo, and Cloud.
Yeah, but how rare is it that we see, Valenteus defending off of somebody, and then a whole bunch of other cars right behind him? We don't see the field this tight together, and I have to say it's got to be a feature of the road course here at Motegi. 32 minutes left to go in this race, and everybody's still having somebody to race with. As you see, Cloud trying to close in on this battle for 6th place in class, and Lundberg, who had, let's admit it, an awful start. He's fallen back 5 spots, trying to climb his way back up, but that's going to be easier said than done. And the upper right-hand side of your screen, you see the gray battle there for 13th with Haycox right there in his tire tracks.
Yeah, Ian doing the best he can out there, and Luca getting that move done, or trying to get that move done. They'll just keep on going. It's interesting. The last time, outside the 49s, the only drivers that have really been able to hassle Valenteus have been drivers in the Glacier Racing cars. If it's not Ika, if it's not Ika, it's Joni. If it's not Joni, it's another one of those drivers that is just really just putting the pressure. It's even Topi Cortinemi sometimes as well, as more battles in the picture-in-picture. We've got the nice scenic view of what Yoni's doing, a nice relaxing drive. And in the picture-in-picture, Jamie Hamill-Smith, who claims he hails from Trinidad and Tobago. I think he might want to have a little bit of cool runnings out there today if he wants to have some help, but he's struggling right now. Cal Young's in front of him, who hasn't had a really good recovery drive. Martin Krajcik as well, Sam Skogard, and Brandon White. It's a big train at the back of the field.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not a normally see here in Japan. There's a spin as Krajcik takes the spin through the 7-8 complex, and he will get righted just in front of traffic. Takes that Beretta designed paint scheme, the ICI, which is made famous by Tommy Kendall and Wayne Taylor, down through the turn 9 complex, and that was something that you're going to see here a lot, especially with these cars. Now you see Doug Cloud knocking at that door and really making sure Cotslow and Del Olmo know that he wants that position. But then again, you look back, you've got Lundberg behind him, and it's like, who do you go for? Who do you watch here?
Well, you watch all of them right now. I think Lundberg's got a really nice, well, as I say, he's got the best seat in the house of these watching these drivers, and Doug had a really good turn 11 there, but he got there, tried to get the momentum, went under the oval bridge, or the oval structure there, And then there was nowhere for him to go, and he had to try and make that move into 12-13. So he just had to back out, and now you see this is him. He's trying to do a late braking here. You can't do late braking, Doug. Doug Cloud, you can't do late braking in a GTO. What on earth did you just do to Ilka Kottasalo?
I think he was just standing up in his rig right there, trying to make that late break. As you see Kottasalo looking to the inside once again. He's not going to make that happen. Guess who's going to come into the conversation? Knock, knock, knocking at the back door. It's Noel Lundberg.
Now Noel Lundberg wants it. He's seen the momentum shift, and it's all a momentum car around here today for the Audis. Not how they really like it, but Doug, that is a nature characteristic of this new car for the GTOs, where late braking wasn't really a thing you could do, but now the car's got a bit too much of the turn in, as some drivers are saying. Really struggling. That's Jacob Reed struggling to get into the turn out there, as he's now battling Gabriel Martinez. He's up 2, which sounds crazy as they're now through the traffic. This is a battle that they have had before, but now you you input GTOs. It's going to be really tough to go around the traffic, but you will see next time by why this is one of those tracks that is really fun for multi-class, because you go back to it, Jeremy, the wide track, lots of space, lots of high-speed corners.
Yeah, lots of high-speed corners and lots of opportunities for drivers to turn left when they're trying to turn right, especially in these cars, which was one of the features back then, as they're down that alternate pit straightaway. As you start to see just a little bit of the feature of why this multi-class race is going to be absolutely fantastic, as Jacob Reed trying to close in once again on Martinez for that second spot. Loma, he's gone 1.6 seconds out in front. You see him trying to work his way through lap traffic once again. But man, what a fantastic race we've seen here between Martinez and Reed. Let's see if Reed could keep it under him once again as Martinez goes a little wide. That's going to open up the door for Jacob Reed. They're side by side coming out of turn 1, and Martinez opens up the boost just a little bit more as Reed has to back off and let him have the line. But it's not over yet, as more and more GTOs are going to come into the conversation.
Now we'll see who gets the run here. Is Gabri going to put his nose in and just make that move? Or is Jacob going to use his expertise in the traffic? And knock on wood, I always talk about Jacob Reed with his ability in the traffic to make time and make opportunities. But it's tough out there. You can see had a little bit of issues out there. And again, this is not to Gabriel Martinez he's used to, because toned it down a little bit, really looking for the moves. But is that a mistake going around the outside of 8 there as they come to 9? Doesn't really hurt him as they get to Luca Gray now. So they're at the halfway stage of the GTOs, as Raul Roches Guardia right behind them as well, having a little bit of battle with Elena Jack. And Elena Jack just got held up by the traffic, and they're getting it worse than the leaders did, because at least the leaders, they get a little bit of opportunity through the corners. Elena Jack's had to do it through the technical S's.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to make your way through there with no problem. But either way, you're seeing a replay with Jacob Reed once again as he gets a couple of wheels off into the grass, and sometimes that's all you need to lose a little bit as somebody else goes off into the gravel. You saw from Raul Roches Guardia. And either way, this has been a fantastic battle all throughout the field, as Mukanos sitting back there in 6th place, closing in on Olacek. And of course, right behind Mukanos, you've got Youngblood about a second back. Doug Cloud, who we saw have that issue all the way back to 12th, trying to close in on Pollock, what could have been for the number 21.
Go onto the rear camera. Well, basically, we're through on the engine. They're having to now deal with the traffic as well as trying to catch up, as Ian's now losing out to Doug as a couple cars go on by. We'll get back to Jacob Reed, still battling with Gabriel Martinez, and they're just about to hit the top 10 as they come through this technical section. Jacob's going to go around the outside this time. And, well, you can see the outside does work, but I think Gabriel made that a little bit easier last time through the outside of 6. Now 7. 7 comes to 8. And if you know your numbers, after 8 comes turn 9, which tightens up a little bit. Picture in picture, you've still got that Cal Young battle. He's still trying to battle on here. Got Luca Gray in front of him as well, followed by Ian Haycox. And Ian and Luca, they've been having a nice little battle all day. Battles on battles, Jeremy. You wouldn't want it any other way with IMSA Vintage.
No, you really wouldn't, and especially in each and every class. Got so many great battles. Reed closing in under the gearbox of Martinez, going through turn number 11. That's not going to be the tightest corner if they come across. Oh, Lord, no. You still have this section coming out underneath where you take the left of the 12, another left of the 13, and then you go immediately right into turn number 14. And Martinez getting held up by at least one or two GTOs down the straightaway. Does Reed pop out to the inside? He's not going to be able to because he's going to be forced to the outside. Once again, Reed makes it look easy. High, wide, and handsome. They're side by side. Little bit of contact. Martinez spins. He had to let off, and Reed now gets second in style.
I think Gabri may have lost the mechanical grip there. Gets the car pointed straight forward again. Hard battling, but a really good move from Jacob. He exposed that mistake there from Gabri Martinez. Gabri went for the early defense there to take the inside line, and Jacob just had the cleaner line, I feel, was there was a little bit of issues. Let's have a quick look at what happened to Joni Hagner, sorry, because he was in P2. Well, he's not in P2 anymore, and this is why as he comes through the final sectors. Oh, it was a misshift, Jeremy. You can see as he just slows down the gears there. Well, that's definitely a case of just missing your gear and trying to pop it straight back in.
Yeah, that's going to happen with those dog box gearboxes. But either way, what a missed opportunity there. You see Lundberg, he's got some GTPs hot on his tail, but Del Olmo still holding off there. This is the battle for third place now between Hagner and sorry, wrong one. Between Gardia and Olencek, as Olencek can't believe his fortunes as he thought, okay, I'm going to be in third here, 3 wide though with the 2 GTOs battling for their own race. That's going to be contact again. Pinballs, and guess who's going to come up and be lucky there? It's Mukanos as he closes in, coming off of the oval. How do you like it? Do you like it like this, or do you like it even tighter, Craig? Because the more they race, I think it's going to be even tighter.
Yeah, and they're going to be careful as well because the equal flag is quite fragile in these cars at the moment. It's waiting for an update on that one. But Javier manages to get the better of that as Cortosalo goes a little bit too deep into the turn 1-2 section. Going to have to do it all over again as Gabri Martinez goes by them, just trying to see what Gabri can do as he's trying to, on his own little recovery drive here. But Javier Del Olmo, great to see the man back. One of those drivers that when there was not a lot of drivers, he came out, dominated, and not because he was the only one there, but he had to dominate a lot of drivers, and Javier, one of the only drivers to go back-to-back in different classes. And, well, there goes the driver that's gone back-to-back out where, and Johan Van Hicks and Seamus Power, did they come together? Well, it was unfortunate. Van Hicks didn't actually come together. It looked like Seamus kind of just missed his braking mark there, went really hard, and now Van Hicks has retired the car, and, well, he's decided to go to the beach, I think.
Yeah, why not? In the race a little early, but yeah, Van Hicks with that mechanical black. Blackman also getting a mechanical black. So a couple of meatballs being served up here. I wonder what Japanese meatballs actually taste like. I would imagine they taste pretty good. You get some good quality meat here on the island. And Hagner trying to sit there in third place and close in on Leskala while you see the GTPs going around. That's going to give Hagner a chance to look to the inside. Oh, almost one of those opportunistic moves to get there and move some, basically move, up a position. But let's take a look at from the back of Van Hicks, and that's going to be, contact. Oh, yeah, that was indeed contact. Big time with Blackman. And, yeah, that's just going to be game over for really both of them as Blackman now is in the pits.
Yeah, and I know Seamus actually put his hand up and admitted that was his fault there. It looked like he just missed his braking point. He was going like a torpedo out there, and that was unfortunate for him. And now, listen, Yoni, Yuko, you can battle. You battle. Valentez is going to get ahead, and I'll tell you what, that's a little bit of a drift from Yuko Leskala. Oh, wow, that's not a mid-shift. That was a drift through 4. Meanwhile, Gabri Martinez is having the battle. Here comes Yuko on the inside. To the outside will be Yoni, and Yoni's going through the over-under. But the over-under right through here at 6. It's a very quick section, but when you don't have the downforce like the cut prototypes, you can't really go side-by-side here. Yoni's just going to have to wait out, and well, in 20 minutes, we might be having to start whispering about Another triple crown for Valenteas. Not yet, though. Anything can happen in the next 20 minutes, Jeremy. Yoni Hagner is showing that you can late breaking these cars, really putting the pressure on Yuko Leskola right now.
Well, let's see how much the pressure is pushed on there as Leskola's going to try and make him go around the outside of the hairpin, which is easier said than done. Of course, this is going to enter in Schuster to the conversation. So this 2-car battle for second will quickly turn into a 3-car battle for second if Leskola and Hagner still decide they want to keep racing. Now, some say that this is not good to be on the outside, but I think that Hagner has the correct line, especially since the next two corners are left-handers, and Hagner gets that nose out front, even so slightly for the two very fast left-handers. How do you like it? The right-hander comes up, and Hagner still hanging on to third place, but still wants that second place. And if you want to try the outside in turn 1, it's probably your best right-hander that you can do it, because you can get that advantage, you can get that grip, and indeed he is hanging there, but he had to tap on the brakes just a little bit, and they've got a GTP behind him, so these three have to figure out how they're going to let that go by, and indeed they do. As now you see Hagner deep to the inside for the double left-hander. He's got one, and now he has two. Does he get out front? He does.
That was actually pretty smart from Yoni there. He broke a little bit earlier and then broke with less force to really stomp on. He tried to go around the outside. You got Leskola trying to go around the outside. Hang on, boys. How many times do you want to go side by side for Twin Ring Motegi? I know drivers say it's tough to make overtakes here, but you're just toying with this track right now. They're still side by side as they now come through into 7, now into 8. Brilliant camera work there by our director, as we almost had the camera destroyed if it was a real-world camera. And finally, Yoni Hagner gets that done. Andreas Schuster said, I'll tell you what, I want to be back in these iRacing highlights. 3 cars, and Barcelona made a highlight. Why can't we do it? And they're almost 3-4 wide. And that's Zavala and Bailey coming together, and more tapping as well. Ladies and gentlemen, vintage IMSA chaos.
It's vintage IMSA chaos with modern day driving styles down the alternate pit straightaway. You see another GTP going down there. Look at that smart driving by Hagner as he puts that GTP between him and Schuster. So Leskola and Schuster, I should say, as they both all work their way through onto the pit straightaway. And a little bit of a bump there. No harm, no foul, but still, that was smart driving by Hagner that entire lap to get out there and get into second place. Now it's a matter of, can he even think about catching Valenteas? I don't think so. He's 5 seconds in the lead for GTO, but you still see Leskola and Schuster battling tooth and nail for this bottom step of the podium. One wants it, the other's not going to be able to get it.
No, 2 does not go into 1. You can't share a medal like the Olympics, so going to be interesting to see what he can do. If you've been keeping your eye on the timing tower as well, Jacob Reed has been catching Aleski Alomar, and that's going to be interesting. It's the old mixing with the new. I had to go back 2019 was the last time Aleski Alomar won in the GTPs. So it's been quite a while there, so we'll have a look at that later on, because that gap will be closing as we see more flames coming out the side of Yuko Leskola as he's really trying to now catch up to Yoni Hagner, but one mistake, he brings back Schuster. No, Lombard's only 2 seconds behind. So they're going to have to be careful here, because one mistake, they're going to be losing out. But yeah, 5 seconds in 16 minutes. It's doable, Jeremy. But this is Valenteas we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's like saying it and doing it are two different things. Valenteas right now on an absolute another planet from the rest of the field. But look, if it happens, it's going to make for some great racing, some great highlights. Hagner now has that open space, but either way, he's got to shake these two behind him if he really wants any chance. And now you see Martinez, Youngblood, and Olenek in a battle for 5th. That's a spin from Olenek as he goes right into the gravel and ends up going back on the course. Not sure what happened there, if it was just a self-spin or anything like that, but that was a quick highlight over here as you have a new second place driver. It's Yuko Leskola, as something happened there with Hagner. As Hagner's closing in once again, heading out of turn number 1. He's going to look to the outside and then dive to the inside. Let's see the replay.
I wonder if this is, again, another shift issue. Yeah, I wonder if that's a little bit of a shift issue or just deciding just go ahead because they're losing time. In fact, yeah, looking at the time, they lost a second there. That screams to me like that was a misshift there or trying to get the gearbox into the right gear. And I think Yoni had some issues out there. And I'm not going to tell anyone how to drive a car, but you know, you've got an H pattern, you put it in where it says 4, but I know when you've got a straight cut gearbox and something from the 80s, it's not that easy. And I'm not going to criticize them for that because I know a lot of drivers have been really struggling right now with these gearboxes. And I think that's just a case of, well, the gearbox does not want to work. It's not acting like it's from the 80s, Jeremy. It's acting almost like it's from 1880.
Yeah, exactly. It's I kind of want to work. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. No, I don't. So you're going to see that, I think, throughout the race. And, you know, if I'm Hagner, I'm going to be a little leery to see what happens here. And hopefully next time I go for a shift, I'm able to get there and get the gear properly. But here comes Hagner looking to the inside of Leskala once again through turn number 11. How late do you like the break? They like braking so late that they want to close down the establishment. As they're wide around the final couple of corners, Hagner trying to get around Leskala. We know how hard it is to get around the 5 car. It's not very easy, but Hagner, he's shown that he doesn't like easy. He likes it nice and hard.
Well, sometimes you're going to have to do it the hard way. Like the BC Boys said, you're going to rock this free the hard way. And I think that's what the number 3 is doing right now as he's in this little group. This may bring to Noel Lundberg into the fray. This might even bring Javier Mascara. Not Javier Mascara, sorry. Javier Del Olmo. Javier Mascara, unfortunately, had a few moments out there sitting in 14th place in the GTPs. 2 Javiers do not make a right, or something like that. Yoni Hagner is continuing on. And I do wonder now, where does he look to make moves? There's going to be a slow car. Hey, there's a slow car just rejoining across the track in front of them. I thought that was going to be a moment there for a split second. But you've shown all your cards, Jeremy. Unless he's got an ace up his sleeves, where does Yoni make this move?
Well, there's plenty of places to make the move, and yeah, exactly. You've shown your poker face, but did you really show your poker face? Only time will tell. 13 minutes left to go in this race, so plenty of opportunities. And here's what I like about Motegi, the road course. You know, normally we've got, what, 2-3 opportunities to pass? Oh, here goes Hagner to the outside. They're side by side for second place as Leskala had a little bit of an issue. They're still racing side by side, but Leskala has the line around the hairpin, and that's one of those places where you can make the pass feasibly. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 passing zones that you can have here. Hagner going through one of them. He's got a GTP breathing down his neck, and he's pinched down to the inside as he's not going to have the line there. He's going to back off, think better of it, and get ready for turn 1.
I wonder if Yoni Hagner's got a little bit of a disease he's spreading around called gearboxitis, but I think that's what happened to Yuko Leskala. He had a little bit of a moment out there with his gearbox, and I think they're battling so hard, they're trying to really fight each other, and they might just be putting the gear probably a bit too fast, and that's not a criticism, that's just the fact that these cars need to be a little bit slower now, and I wonder if that's causing the issues, but they're having to really battle hard. Yeah, Yoni Hagner again through 1 and 2 around the outside. He'll have the inside for 3 and 4, and that means the outside belongs to Yuko Leskala. They're still side by side. You want to do this 4 times in a row? Let's do it, boys. They're still side by side as they come through into turn 5. Now the inside belongs to Leskala. Yoni will have to wait. Spinning GTP gets up the way. Thank you, Javier Mascara, for getting out the way, because they don't want to see anything holding this up. They are battling tooth and nail, and they don't care that Valenteus is going to win this race. They just want to have the spoils all for themselves.
Oh, they always say girls want to have fun, but I think you could change it to Audis just want to have fun, especially if you're Leskala, Hagner, and Schuster's your second, third, and fourth. Hagner takes a look to the inside, a little bit of puff of smoke there as they're side by side going into the hairpin, but Leskala has that inside advantage once again. However, Hagner going to try it on the outside. He likes it high as he's been sky high most of the race, but Leskala has it for now. Let's hang here because, yeah, there's more GTP traffic back there, but does Leskala pop to the inside like he's done the past several times? And he's going to think better of it because that GTP really wants to get in there and make that pass, but either way, they shut the door on them. Craig, this is absolutely fantastic. This is the stuff IMSA Vintage Series is made of as they work their way to complete yet another lap.
Well, when the working day is done, Audis just want to have fun, and that's what they're having right now. And the Nissans come into the fray as well. You got that little replay up as well. There's been a big crash as well. Lance Olsen, Mechanos, Dalton Hall have all crashed out there as well. Keep your eyes as well on that timing tower. Reed is closing, and I think Reed is using the straight and the lack of traffic to his advantage. And really rare to say that Jacob Reed is struggling with the traffic. You're not missing a lot of battles out there at the moment. These 4 cars are going, but let's have a quick look at that replay. We've got 10 minutes to go. Here is Mechanos looking to make some moves in, and is that just a car? That's just a car, Jeremy, trying to open up the corner as much as he can, not knowing that Mechanos is there. We just missed Leskala having a slide. I want to talk about other things, Jeremy, and these guys are like, no, us. Focus on us. They're like the child that wants all the attention.
Exactly. We call them the middle child. At least that's what I've heard. And I'm part of a 2-child family. But yeah, here's another replay with Leskala. As you see, he's just sliding there. Oh, man, I think he's trying to audition for the remake of Tokyo Drift because he's been doing nothing but sideways and smiling. Although these are Audis, not MX-5s, as they come around the hairpin once again. Hagner trying to get up to second once again, but keeping Schuster behind. And look who's also entered back into the conversation. It's Noel Lundberg, and if something should happen to these guys, he's gonna pounce. But here's Hagner once again getting into the mirrors of Leskala, still through the 11 turn 11, I should say, as they work their way into the switchback. We go up to a battle for GTP, and that's Jacob Reed and Elma, as they now have to battle for the lead with GTO traffic looming down the pit straight.
Not just GTO traffic, it's also GTP traffic. And you can see Aloma, it's like, please, I need to get by. And he does get by. And now Reed gets by. They're going to be meeting this battle. So hello, we've got the 6 and the 2 battling again with the 5 and the 3 just coming through, or letting you go through, and they don't get held up by the traffic, but a lock up there from Aloma, and that could allow Jacob, cool, calm, collective as you like. The Worcesterman retakes the lead, but the outside works for Oleski here, and now Oleski's going to try and do it to the inside of turn 5, and the inside worked pretty well, but there is still some grip there. The grip's just going though for Jacob, and he has to just lift off for a little bit there. It's not the F1 car that he's used to on a Friday night. Like he did at Suzuka, he stayed in virtual Japan to get himself ready for this, as you kind of get the idea. But unfortunately, the car said no. The grip just ran out there.
Sometimes, that's your only limiting factor, as the field working their way with just a handful of minutes left. So the pressure just gets pressed harder and harder the more that the sands in the hourglass fall. Hagner trying to hold off to try to go around Leskala for third. Got a spinner there. That's not anyone who's involved in this battle here. So you've got 2 great battles for the podium. One's for the overall lead, the other to see who's going to step second on the podium, and maybe even third, as Schuster, he's closing in on Hagner as well. So the pressure cooker is boiling as we get ready for a feast after the race.
Well, I'm pretty sure they would call this the witching hour now, with 7 minutes left in the race. Craytrix had a crash out there. Maximilian Bailey, I think one of those drivers we saw had that spin. Yoni Hagner's just not close enough, starting to put the pressure on, and this is the name of the game for them right now, is apply some pressure. Because they're going to need to just do that, because that's probably what's caused these misshifts. That's what probably caused these moments, these lockups as well. We saw Loma and the GTPs have that lockup that allowed Reed to try and take the lead, but all for Norris, we got 4 cars battling for 2 spots. Now, I know my maths isn't that good, Jeremy, but 4 into 2 does not work. Here's Martin Craytrick trying to go around the outside, and I think the car just decided, I've had enough. And yeah, just looped around. I think probably too much throttle, or a little bit lack of grip there. But yeah, my maths, Jeremy, I'd say maths with an S, not math like you say in America. 4 does not go into 2.
As we like to say, the math ain't mathin', but we'll see what happens here as there's only a couple of laps left to go in this race. And now here's the thing. We see the battle for second really heat up. Oh, that was absolute cinema right there. Out of the 17 of Guardia, who goes for his second lap around this GTO traffic as they work their way through the hairpin down onto the alternate pit straight as they're side by side. Another replay, this time Doug Cloud. Oh no, what happened here? Oh, the back end just wanting to see what the front end's looking at, and it's not looking at much. But either way, it's absolutely a cinema race for this battle for second place in GTO as Leskala. He's playing strong defense over Hagner as some football teams are calling him asking, how do you do it?
If I knew how I did it, I would say how I did it. Mickey Friesen still battling, not having the best of days out there. He's trying to battle on. I wonder, I know it isn't, but I'm just going to say for the broadcast, ever since he's lost the Bane microphone, and for those who don't know, the microphone used to cover his face, we couldn't see it. Ever since he's lost that, the power's gone. Say it so, it might be a case of the microphone is his Samson, is the hair, and he is Samson. So, unfortunately, losing out, but he's still going to be battling right here as he was just trying to get by Iker Costasalo. Could not get that going as everything's calmed down a minute with 4 minutes to go. And so hopefully that just means in modern day F1, Jeremy, that would be them recharging their batteries, or in an IndyCar, recharging their batteries, getting ready. I think they're just recharging the energy to go one last time because they've got about 3 or 4 laps to go.
Well, and Greg, you know as well as I do, normally we'd be saying, oh, well, they're burning up the tires. Well, here, you definitely don't need to worry about that too much with it being a shorter sprint race. But I've got to say, I love the luscious face beard there on Mickey Friesen. I'm absolutely jealous because, you know, you try and get one and you get more patches than you do, the grass in the summertime. And it just doesn't look good, but Friesen makes it rock for him as he's still sitting there in 8th place in that number 14. But gotta say, I have a feeling this battle for second is not going away anytime soon with Leskala, Hagner, and Schuster as you're watching Costasalo trying to hold off Friesen diving to the inside once again through the hairpin and got another Audi that has decided to beach itself. I didn't know you could have some good beach days here in Japan, but I guess I've been proven wrong and need to learn more about my Oriental history through the final corner down the straightaway once again. Just a couple of laps left to go in the race for the GTOs.
3 minutes to go. Friesen still battling. I've been keeping my eyes on the Leskala-Hagner battle, and that's not exactly coming to anything at the moment. As I say that, Yoni decides he wants to go in. They both lock the tires there, and that's really good heads up there from Yoni. And more hot tires there now from Leskala as he's trying to keep it. But Yoni stopped. He did not want to take the position. They've lost some time. That's going to be a lot of hot tire there for Yuko Leskala. He probably wants to go into the beach. He can go into the sea to cool the tires up, but that was too hot braking in for both drivers. Yoni tried to be a bit aggressive. They lost the spots in front of them, Jeremy, as we're going to look at the replay, but that is a sign of respect. He does not want to earn it. Here's Mickey Friesen trying to make the move done. Is he going to get this done around the outside? Going to be tough around the outside. Can't get it done. And he just loses it. Too much speed there. A lack of grip as well. Just says no. Locks it down. But he loses out big time.
Well, that was not too long after as we got Mukanos back into the gravel trap through the alternate hairpin right there, and still a lot of GTO traffic has to work their way around. They're going to lose even more gap to Nürnberg, so Leskala and Hagner falling back even further, trying to avoid the spinning GTP. And here's the thing, yeah, that was actually a heads-up sportsman move, but unfortunately the stewards may not see it like that in the post-race debrief, and may slap him with a little bit more of an incident there. But what a race this could have been for the podium as Schuster and Lundberg making their way through as Elma still holding on to a commanding lead, coming down to the line, and I believe that they've taken the white flag.
Oh, they haven't yet. No, a minute to go. They will have one more lap after this. And like I said, had to look at the stats. Sorry for hitting the microphone there. Had to look at the stats. we get back on board with Yuko Leskola. The last time Aloma won a race in IMSA Vintage, well, in the GTPs, it was the 19th of October 2029. Not 2019, sorry. I'm looking in the future. It was Interlagos.
Well,
it's a little bit different here. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If he comes back in October 2029 and he wins, don't find me, because I probably have known the lottery numbers and made a bit more money.
Yep, and I'd probably be doing every series on the face of the earth, so, you know, I'd still be doing this. I'd find a way to do this. But either way, still watching Schuster as he's got Lundberg all over his back bumper, and Leskola and Hagner have closed in once again. Bailey gets around Laust Olsen for 11th in GTP, but let's see if Lundberg can make it work on the high side. He may not be able to, but I've got to say, more GTP traffic making their way around the penultimate hairpin, as the field coming down the alternate timing. You see the battle for second, you see the battle for fourth, not too far away. Does Lundberg take advantage of the GTP? No, but this gives the other two behind them a chance to close in and possibly race for the podium.
It's going to be a race to the podium, and we'll try and get both battles here, because technically the gap is half a second, and a little bit of traffic could hold up Aloma here. So there it is in the picture-in-picture, the top four battling, well, four of the top five battling for those last two spots. Aloma's had a little bit of a moment as well here, but Jacob a little bit of a wiggle as they came out of turn 9. And now Aloma's going to have to see if he can make this move, and the old school bookmark does not happen there. 4/10 is the gap. They come down to the alternate start line, and there's only going to be a few more corners left. Aloma is still looking. Noah Lundberg still looking, but not a lot of gap there as well. Aloma now comes through to turn 11. This could be good. You see all the gravel. You see all the tire marks. All the gravel is picked up there on the beach. He doesn't want a beach. He wants a little bit of champagne. He wants a little bit of the bubbly. Number 6 is his number. And for 6.5 years, he's been waiting. Alexi Aloma takes the victory at Twin Ring Motegi.
And Leskola taking a spin as well at the end, so he will fall further down the order. You see Noah Lundberg trying to get in the inside there for second place. Not going to happen as of yet. Here's the replay with Leskola just lighting up the back end, and that does it. Oh, hard into the tunnel there as you see Lundberg trying to do all he can to go up one spot. Hagner deep into the brakes, into the gravel, so he will lose possibly fourth place as Olmo closes in once again, and Schuster going to make Lundberg work for it even harder going into turn number 11. They're side by side. That's not what you want to do as Andreas Valenteus comes down to the line. He's going to win in GTO, but the GTO podium is not completely finalized, and actually coming down to that final turn, it will be. Schuster will finish off in second. Lundberg close, but no cigar. He will get into third.
It's a very good fifth there. Can Javier Del Olmo just wind back the clock a little bit? Unfortunately not, in this ahead of them as well. Yuko Leskola just holds off Iko Costasalo. In fact, no, actually Costasalo got the finish. Costasalo at the end. Now I wonder what happened there. Iko Costasalo, I think, ran out of fuel, and Leskola, ran out of fuel, and Iko Costasalo will get it by 0.014. But Valenteus, I mean, in the words that I said a year ago, when he was just setting purple after purple, we weren't looking at him. Stop it. He won all 3 last week. He's won 2 of the 3 this week. I'm not even whispering it this time, Jeremy. He's on for a triple crown tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be absolutely interesting to see if he can really work that triple crown. Would not be surprised. Nothing really surprises me anymore with Andreas Valenteus as Brendan Lynn joining in the post-race antics and going for a little bit of a spin cycle there. But man, what a race we saw here at the Twin Ring Motegi, and it was absolutely fantastic up and down the field.
Absolutely fantastic. Let's get to the standings, because from lights to flag, it wasn't all the time. Alexi Aloma takes the victory away from a charging Jacob Reed, who for a split second did have the lead, but will finish in second. Raul Roches Guardia will be in third. And a tip of the hat to Gabriel Martinez with that recovery drive, finishes in fourth, with Fabian Jungluff in fifth. Christopher Laserjack will take 6th with Nicholas Mecanos in 7th. Ricardo Martinez is the hardest charger, up 9 today into 8th. Brendan Lim will be in 9th. Zabala will take 10th. And then we get to the last few drivers on the lead lap. Bailey in 11th, Laus Olsen in 12th, and Robert Plumley, who started at the back, will be in 13th. Then we get to the drivers a lap down. Javier Mosquera 1 lap down. Ben Summers 1 lap down. Joseph Smith will be a lap down. And then the retirees, Andrew Blackman in 17th, Mateo Johnson in 18th, Seamus Power 19th, Diego Mastretta will just be behind him in 20th. And David Ricciardi, all on his own on the last page, will be the first retiree of the day. Finishes in 21st. Not the same story that it was in the GTPs as it would be for the GTOs.
Yeah, what a fan. Yeah, of course, Andres Valentei is 12 seconds over Schuster. But you take a look here from 2nd on back to 5th. There was such a good battle there with Schuster, Lundberg, Hagner, who we actually thought was going to stay up there, but darn near lost it as they were working their way into the final corners. Javier Del Olmo runs out your top 5. Ikela Cotasalo with Lescala finishing 7th. 8th, Cal Young. Good recovery there for him. Mickey Friesen and Doug Cloud rounding out your top 10. As you take a look at the rest of the field, it's going to be a couple pages here with Roman Bello, Thorben Pollock, Ian Haycox, Luca Gray, and Sam Skovgaard rounding out your top 15. Emilio Di Chiari, Jamie Hamill-Smith, Nathan Rivers, Devin Isley, and Travis Petrie finishing off in 20th position. Take a look at 21st, and that belongs to Martin Krajcek. 1 lap down. Brandon White begins a 2 lap down field with Eugenio Massa in 23rd. Urin Zorchek, Dalton Hall, and Joachim von Hicks, who did not have a good race there, ending up finishing the race in 26th of the pits.
He decided he wanted to have a visit to the beach. I think some of the drivers were having a bit of a visit to the beach today. A little bit unfortunate for some of the drivers. A tough day up Motegi for some drivers, but a really good drive out there today. So I think we're just going to wait if anyone wants to knock on the broadcasting door, the virtual broadcasting door, but I don't think we will. So we'll get talking about next week, because next week we will be going to somewhere different, somewhere hotter. We're going to Adelaide next week. It's street racing, but not as you know it. I don't think I've ever seen multi-class at Adelaide, so that's going to be very tough to see what's going to happen out there today, but out there next week. And by the way, just a reminder, the clocks do go forward for Europeans, so that will be an hour later next week, and it'll be an hour later tomorrow. But I do want to give a shout out to the IMSA Vintage community for bringing us back once again. And to the team today, it's always good to share a booth with Jeremy, and we always like to share it with Christian. And of course, thank you to Dougie once again. As I always say, if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, because there's more racing to come this weekend. Because I just talked about Adelaide for the IMSA Vintage. Well, we're at Adelaide for the Lotus 79s tomorrow. And yes, the Triple Crown is on. And then Wednesday, well, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, depending where you are, Watkins Glen for the Porsche North America Carrera Cup. That's going to be on the Porsche pages. And then we do it all again for iRacing weeks. Skip Barber at Alton Park. Grand Prix Legends will be at Brands Hatch. But there's one legend today that could not get by, and one legend that did get by today. Jacob Reed couldn't stop Aleski Aloma finally getting back into the winner's enclosure. 6 years it took, and finally the number 6 takes the victory. Will this be a sign of the rest of the season? We'll wait and see. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.